Well, people, what's happening? Welcome back. We got another drive time preview for you, another Shankly Sessions for my sins. This time we're going to be talking Champions League, a little change of scenery, which normally sometimes does the team a bit of good. Probably a bit of a reflection on the weekend, which was an absolute shit show. We've got to talk about that as well. Really poor. Started off well, created a couple of chances, couldn't do it. Even Salah missing the pen. Oh no, just sums up where we're at the moment, doesn't it? And it was really poor. And I have to say, once again, you see the petulance and the stupidity of this team, you know, getting above their station. You see Dominic Szoboszlai, who we have preached about this season, who by far has been above and beyond our best player. But once again on Saturday, you see it again, showing that he's certainly not ready for the captaincy of a club the size of Liverpool. And to be calling out fans and stuff like that, the fact that there was any fans there at the end was an absolute miracle. And I'm one of those fans. I will stay. I will never walk out on my team. But to turn around and give it that after that abysmal performance, and let's be honest, we said the 4-0 actually flattered, you know, kind of flattered us a little bit, because it could have been 6 or 7, let's be honest. But really poor all round. You know, and like, I don't think, you know, whatever we think about what's gone in this season and the drop off and the problems and all the issues and everything else and all, and you know, we listened to Virgil after the game again, spouting the same old story again, this, that and the other. When are you going to fix up? No one's spouting that when you're picking up the wage every week. But to turn around and think that the fans are the issue says a lot about this team at the moment. And not so much maybe about the team, but about Dom himself and his mentality. You know, this is a guy who obviously wants to be cajoled and loved and wrapped around and hugged and all that kind of stuff. But the reality is, the team has no, the fans have no reason to clap this team. The fans have no reason to cheer this team. They haven't been given very few times this season where they've been given a reason to cheer this team on. And it's really poor. So don't come over to the away fans who have spent an absolute fortune, and probably at the time of a cost of living crisis, a lot of these people are, you know, spending money on going and supporting their team at a time where that money should be getting spent elsewhere. And for you to go over and give it to Billy Big Bollocks at the end of a game where you've played absolutely shit says a lot about the mentality and the fact that people internally are not looking to themselves to find a solution. Hence the reason we're not playing as a team. Hence the reason we're disjointed. Hence the reason we're going onto a pitch like we've never played together, because everyone's worried about their reputation as opposed to the reputation of the team and the club. And that's a real problem. That's a real problem. And we knew this mentality was going on. We hadn't really seen it. A little bit with Salah during the season and all, getting a little bit petulant. But now we can see it now. This team thinks it's bigger than it is. And they fail to understand the issues and what's going on and stuff like that. And that's a real problem. And we said it. We said it. Senior players not coming out and addressing the issues. And then when Curtis Jones did come out and address the issues, he got fucking binned off to the bench for 2 months nearly, until he had to be played. So this is the mentality, you know what I mean? Now we're hearing coming out that there won't be any change or any decision made until we're not in a race for the Champions League, basically the top 5 places or whatever. And I just can't understand that mentality. You know, we should be ruthless. You know, we've done enough backpatting in our time. We've done enough of this kind of thing, you know what I mean, down through the years and stuff like that. That manager should have been gone at Christmas. Let's be honest here. Forget about, like, I mean, all thanks and all and everything for what you did last season and winning the league and all that. That does not go unnoticed. And we're trying to be as respectful as we can. But each week and each match, this is getting more and more toxic every single time. And it's going to get to a stage where he's going to end up leaving in a toxic situation with no credibility after winning a Premier League. And that should not be the case. That's not our way. We're loyal to a T as a fan base. But this has gone above and beyond. The change should have been made at Christmas, it wasn't. The change should have been made at the start of the international break, and it wasn't. And now we find ourselves in a situation where we're out of the FA Cup now, probably our best chance of winning a trophy this season, because I don't see a situation where we're going to be able to shithouse our way into a final, you know, by beating PSG over 2 legs, by beating Real or Bayern over 2 legs, and then getting to a final and potentially beating an Arsenal or a Barcelona or an Atletico or a Sporting, for argument's sake. And I just don't see it. So for me, the FA Cup was the be all and end all, and I think once we went out of the FA Cup, the decision should have been made. And there's an argument there to say, like, it should have been made, you know, at the start of the international break, to give the manager 2 weeks to plot some sort of stuff, get familiar with a few players and have that bit of time when they came back. Should have been done at Christmas probably, but it wasn't. And we knew the writing's on the wall, and the writing this week is kind of significant as well, because this is kind of the PSG game from last year. And if you remember, we had the Carabao Cup final and we shit the bed against Newcastle, and since that Carabao Cup final and since losing that penalty shootout to PSG, this team has been going one way, boom, 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 step by step, week by week, match by match, minute by minute on the pitch, down, 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 down. And that's what's actually happened. The truth is we won a league where we kind of fell over the line. If you look at our form in those last 2.5 months or whatever it is, 3 months of the league, we knew we had the league wrapped up, because nearly quite similar to this season with Arsenal, not quite the same though, but pretty close. Every other team just basically coughed it up. And to be honest with you, I think if we had been in an actual title race last season, I think we might have coughed it up, because I think the backbone and the mentality of this team is really, really weak. So now we face into a PSG game tomorrow night, and don't forget, join us quarter day, we'll be doing the watch along. But look at what we're up against. We're up against the likes of Hakimi, who will eat us up, because they have a mentality. He has a winning mentality. We don't. We're frail. We're looking at a lot of players now that are looking at an exit sign. I think a lot of players on this team want out. I think they want to change the scenery for whatever reason. I don't know whether it's slot. I don't know whether they feel they need a change of scenery because they've lost their mate through that tragedy in the summer. Diogo, rest in peace, Diogo. Is it that? I do not know. I just believe that they just cannot handle the situation of what's going on there, and I think the jersey is way too heavy. I think the expectation is way too heavy this year, and I think fundamentally, looking back on it now, as excited as we were in the summer with the signings and everything else, I think fundamentally we've gotten it wrong. I think we changed up too much. Hindsight's a great thing. I think we changed up too much. I'm not sure we made the right decisions. And I think fundamentally we got it wrong. I think we downplayed the effect of losing Luis Diaz and losing Trent, and obviously losing Diogo as well. Absolutely massive. And I think the players we've brought in are going to have needed a lot of time, and have failed to hit their straps for one reason or another in the red jersey. They all seem to go away on international duty and ball out. If you look at any international break since we signed these guys, most of these guys go off. I suppose with the exception of Isaac, who had a bad run in the Swedish side till he got injured. But with the exception of all the other lads are balling out, and they're nearly man of the match nearly every international game they play. So it's very, very hard to understand what the actual reason is. Has the manager lost the dressing room? Is the dressing room this season just not good enough? Who knows? We will find out. There's no doubt we will find out, because I've already said it at the moment. I think, although we need a change of the manager, I think the issue is, I don't know whether this team has the mentality to kick on, even if you brought in Alonso, even if you brought in a Gerrard, even if you brought in, I don't know, Iriola, whoever you want to bring in. I don't know. I just don't know whether that mentality is there. I mean, they go onto the pitch. You see them walking out of the tunnel. They're hating their life. They're hating their sport. They're hating their job. They're walking out of the tunnel like a load of slapped arses. Like, you're supposed to be enthusiastic and excited to get on a pitch. You know what I mean? You're supposed to hate training. You're supposed to love football. Go out there and display, you know, the stuff you've done. And we go out there and week in, week out, we failed this season. The fact that we're even in a top 5 race is an indictment on the teams in the league at the moment. Because we have been absolute junk most of this season. We have been so poor. And it's hard to know where to go. You look at that front line, you know, Dembele, you know, you've got Zaire Emery out there on the wing, you've Doué, you know, Kvaratskhelia. What are these guys going to do to that flawed lack of confidence, lack of desire, wanting the season to end attitude at the back for us at the moment? You've got Kerkez on one side, you've got Frimpong on the other side, trying to bring the energy, trying to make things happen. And then you've got the bozo pairing in the middle. You've got Van Dijk, who week in, week out, just looks a pale shadow of himself. You've got Kanate, the bozo, who wants 300 grand a week. For some reason seems to think he's Paolo Maldini. But yet he can't even stand up and get physical with players. So it's very hard to know, you know, where this team is going to go. I said it the other day on the reaction show. I mean, are we staring into the barrel now of leading another 2 centre-halves? Central defenders? Like, what's going on here, you know what I mean? Are we just going to replace Salah and push Frimpong forward? Are we going to replace Salah by putting Dominic Szoboszlai out on the right now? Or are we actually going to go into the market and like, do what needs to be done? The talk at the moment coming out is that they're not going to go big this summer. I wonder, is that the impression that they're giving out there because their fear is they're going to miss out on Champions League? And if they miss out on Champions League, this is on Henry, this is on FSG, this is on Hughes and Edwards, this is on the players, this is on the whole collective there that should have taken action. And while we want change and we want a new manager and we want Slot to move on, it's not his fault he's staying there. This change should have happened when, like, we were like so poor and we didn't react. Managers this season in the league have gotten sacked for less, and we had a league winning team who we spent another $500,000 on, or whatever it is, and we regressed. How do you spend $500 million? How do you spend $500 million on a team that's just won a league and regress? Well, that's very simple. How? One, your strategy in the market was wrong. Because let's be honest, we bought Ekitike just to shove it to Newcastle. Ekitike was never supposed to come in and be that guy that he is this season, and thank God he has been somewhat. Let's be honest, he was always going to be the whipping boy to Isaac. That was the plan. So the question is, did we need both? You know, we needed a left winger. We didn't go out and get him. We thought that Cody Gakpo could replace Luis Diaz, which was never going to be the case. We know that from watching him play. And then we fundamentally ripped up the blueprint. So make no mistake about it, PSG are going to have their way with us. And if they don't have their way with us, and if somehow we come out and perform, and if somehow over 2 legs we get through this tie, that raises more questions than it does celebrations. Because how is it, if that's the case, that we can just show up this season in the Champions League and generally play well? I know we had the PSV game and the Galatasaray game, but in general play well. How can we show up and do that And then fundamentally, we can't play against the likes of Wolves. We can't play against the likes of Brentford. We can't play against the likes of Forest. And I know people will say, right, in European football, it opens up a lot more and teams tend to come to play. And you get more chances and all that kind of stuff. Our problem this season hasn't been a lack of chances. Our problem this season has been having the nous and the wherewithal and the absolute bollocks to put the ball in the back of the net. And at the same time, at the back, having the nous and the wherewithal and the cojones and the bollocks to stand up and be counted. And that's where we have lacked. They're the fundamental areas where we have lacked. Our defence more than often than not has shit the bed. And I mean defensively as a collective. Because remember, we've been conceding the corners and set pieces and stuff like that. And if you concede them, that's on the team, not just the four at the back. So it's really, really discouraging at the moment, you know what I mean? I think we're going to need a huge summer to fix up what needs to be fixed up. But I just don't know whether we're going to be able to do that or not, because I don't have the confidence that we're going to be able to pull off this top five. I really don't. So where do we go from here? I just don't know. I don't see this team having the bravery or the backbone to do anything this season. I've said it on so many podcasts this year. There's not a single game this year I expected us to win. That I came on here. I don't think there's any game this season I came on here and I showed chest. And as a matter of fact, fundamentally, I was more concerned about playing the lower teams than I was about playing the higher teams. And we've dropped points to them all. We have shit the bed every time. And yet, we have a core in this team. Every single Liverpool fan and every single content creator has done nothing but heap praise on Dominic Szoboszlai this year, to the point where I turned around not so long ago on a podcast and I said, I think this guy could potentially be our captain, because he's the only guy out there on the pitch that actually takes responsibility. And now you see him going over to the away fans after the City game, giving it the Billy Big bollocks. Like he's immune from criticism. Like we shouldn't be criticising this team. Like our expectation, like as if our expectations are too high of this Liverpool side. Like this Liverpool side is mid-table fodder who's never done anything in the game. And we hear Robbo coming out frustrated. We hear Curtis coming out frustrated. We hear our captain, who has all the solutions after the fact, the Monday morning quarterback. The Monday morning quarterback. I know we have to do much better. I know mentally we have to be stronger. I know all these things. I've been listening to that bullshit since September. When and at what point do we get mentally stronger? When and at what point do we fix up? That's the question. That's what needs to be answered. And yet every week, post-match, we get the same thing, week in, week out. It's a tough season, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to have to sit there in 2 months' time and watch potentially Mikel Arteta lift the Premier League trophy for Arsenal in my lifetime. And when I'm listening to my fucking captain talking about what needs to be done week in, week out, nothing gets done. We did nothing in the market in January when we needed to fix up. I've got a midfield that have all forgotten that they're 6s and 8s and have decided to all play 10s. We get ran through like an under 8s. We get bullied up in midfield. I've nothing more to say. What's my prediction for the game? What did Clubber Lang say? Pain. Join us on the watch along tomorrow night, folks. 7:45. We will be there. Get your thoughts. Let us know in the comments. Line up if you feel about it. What your score prediction is. May the Lord have mercy on our souls.